all are up here talking about the same things, just in different ways. My 2 goals in parties are to get bookings, because like it was said earlier, if you have no bookings, you're not going to have any sales or recruits. And then to build relationships, because again, until you build it, they will not come. It may not happen right then. You guys like that movie? Until they know that you care, they're not going to care about what you have to say. So you're building the relationships. It may not happen right away, but eventually those seeds are going to grow into other things. So the number 1 tip that I have for Facebook parties is hostess coaching. Who knows what that is? Awesome. So if you don't know what it is, I have, just so you guys know, this is all like a compilation of my past almost 2 years, from uplines, downlines. I've learned from everybody that I've come across, tips and tricks. So I'm kind of putting them all together. So this is a thank you to everybody who's contributed to my success, because I've learned from all of you guys. So the number 1 thing is hostess coaching starts as soon as your party is booked. You can't book a party and then be like, all right, peace out, see you in 3 weeks, and expect them to care what you have to say 3 weeks later. From the point the party's booked, your job is to keep them pumped. So you're going to make sure that they have jams that they're putting on their fingers and getting a good application, because those are the pictures that they're going to be posting on their Facebook wall, and not talking about the party, but they're going to be just saying, oh my gosh, look at my nails, they're so cute. But if they have a wrap that's 10 sizes too big, none of their friends will care what they're selling or posting, because it's horrible. After that, the other thing that's going to keep them pumped is sending them a hostess packet. In that, you're going to have a catalog and some samples that they can hand out, the wish list for them to write down. It's just another way to keep them excited, because I know when I look through the when we get that PDF of the new catalog and it's all great, but then when you get the actual catalog in your hand, it's like gold. You are so excited. So getting a catalog in their hand is super important. Then when I am setting up sorry, I have to slow down. I talk really fast. Okay.
Poor girl.
Okay. It's my fault, sorry, I knew that. Okay, when we get the party set up, I'm trying to again, I don't talk to people. Once you get the party set up, you only want your hostess to invite 50 guests. I always tell my girls, if you would not invite them to your home, don't invite them to your Facebook party, because anybody they haven't talked to in 9 years doesn't care what they have to say or selling necessarily. You're going to be building upon relationships that they already have going. So you want to only have them invite 50 girls, and from there, what they're going to be doing is getting them excited into the party. And that's going to happen from sending Facebook messages to them. They are going to send them PMs about once the invitation is sent, to make sure they saw the invitation. I do events, not groups, because I like them to be able to decline if they want to decline. I don't like being added to all of these crazy eyelash groups I get added to.
Oh my God, I know.
It drives me crazy. So make sure that they are sending PMs to all of their guests. And if they have 400 people, they're not going to send those guests. And once they start sending those messages, you're definitely going to see your RSVP number going up if they are doing what you ask them to do. Don't be scared to bug them. You've already built that basis and relationship for them. So over these past couple weeks, you can just message them and you're checking in on them. So when they aren't sending the messages, check on them. Make sure you are getting at them. Hey, did you send those messages? Let's get the messages out. We want your hostess rewards to be higher. Let's get your friends excited. Don't be scared. That's your job. And their job is to get their friends there. That is their job. If they want the rewards, they have to do the work. Who here has seen those posts about, and book a party, I do all the work, and you get all the rewards? That's not true.
No.
At all, because they have to work. You are just there simply providing the information. And keep them pumped. You want to keep your hostess pumped throughout the entire party. Even once it's started, I will be sending my hostesses PMs or messages saying, hey, look at how excited this girl is. Make sure you're talking to her and engaging with her in the party. It doesn't matter if they have no idea what to say. That's your job to help them. So you want to make sure you're going to be doing all the work, but it's going to be coming through them so that their guests are talking back to them, because they already, again, have that relationship going. Back to that PM thing where I tell you guys that they want to PM. I don't know if you've seen this, but they can do one mass message and then it goes to everybody individually. We don't want a big message of 50 girls. Nobody likes those. So make sure this is a really good picture that you can share with them, and I can upload it in the group later on. So basically, hostess coaching, make sure your hostess is involved. You're not there to get the guests there. That's their job. You're just providing information. And if you guys know all about the hostess coaching, you've probably seen this creepy clown picture. Don't be the creepy clown. Okay, so once your hostess has gotten all their guests to the party, we're ready to go. Your job is to build off of their relationships that they already have. So you're going to piggyback on them. The first thing is you want to interact with the guests frequently. So as they're responding to you, what you're going to be doing and your hostess will be doing is answering back. So if they're talking, if they talk about their daughter, oh, how old is she? Piggyback on whatever they're talking about so that you're answering and talking back about things that aren't just Jamberry. And we've already heard this, building relationships. I always respond back with a picture once they're talking about designs. So if I'm saying, tell me what your personality is or your favorite rap is, somebody shout one out. What's your favorite rap? Renaissance. It's really pretty. I love it. What's your favorite rap? In the red shirt. Somebody? Crash Art? Oh my gosh. Have you seen Crash Art paired with the Black Midnight Sky? Look at this picture and how this girl wears hers. How pretty is this? Wouldn't you like to wear these together? The difference is, in one you're engaging, and in the other one it's just like dropped. The conversation's end. They have nothing to respond back to. You're upselling because you're showing them another rap. I like to show them combinations because you always want everybody to get at least that buy 3, get 1 free. So that's kind of building on the relationship. They're answering the question. I have a sheet on that I keep for my parties to make sure that I'm talking about the things I want to talk about. And I also write notes on there for my guests for the follow-up. So if somebody is talking about their daughter or a vacation they're going on, those are things I write down so that when I'm following up with them later on, how was your vacation? Oh, does your daughter like her jams? You know, what sport is she in? She's gonna like these as new products release. These are all things that they're gonna care about in the future when I'm talking to them because they know I care about them and I listen to them and I'm not just speaking Jamberry. Word vomit. You don't want to word vomit. Jamberry, Jamberry this, Jamberry that, Jamberry this, Jamberry this. This is again the building relationships and getting to know them. So again, as they're talking, pull out information about them and sell yourself, sell what you guys have in common. Okay. What's next? People have to know you care, to care what you know, until they know that you're not just there trying to sell to them. Again, they're not going to care what you have to say, and that's where the building relationships really comes into play. Let's see where I am. Okay. Just a few random tips and tricks. Sorry, I'm trying to get to the fun stuff, you guys. I like the fun stuff. Okay, so I always do a game where the answers are private message to me on Facebook. It's just a whole nother form of dialogue that you're going to get going. So if you do, what are these 4 raps off of my website, and they message them to you, it's another way to say thank you for playing along, or I liked that rap that you posted, or I can't believe that you live so close to me, or whatever it is. It's just another way to build a relationship. And once they've responded to you once, they're more likely to continue to respond to you. Because that dialogue is going to continue to go through their purchasing, through their saying thank you, through following up to make sure they've gotten their application down, etc., etc., etc. Don't drag it out. When I first joined, saw people that were doing parties for like 10 to 15 days. You guys, it was a snooze fest. It was insane for me. And it did not fit into my schedule because, again, I only had my weekends. So I do, 3 to 5 day total from start to the end of the party. So I try to keep it short. Nobody wants to drag out information for 19 days and hear about the same thing over and over and see the same pictures. Do a quiz on the important things. You can't assume that they are watching the application videos, the removal videos, because they get long, or they don't have the time, or whatever. So how many people have we known they get them, and again, they're not trying them on because they don't know how to apply them. When you post the video, go back and say, what design was used, or do a pop quiz that gets them either entries into the raffle that you're doing or a prize or whatever it is, but this just is another way to confirm that they know how to apply their jams. I am team no samples. As Julie told you, I tried it for half a second. She didn't try them. And then later on, after she finally decided to wake up, she did try them and she joined. But what my experience is, you say, okay, I'm sending you a sample, you stick them in the mail, they get them, they sit there, the party's going, the party's over, oh, I don't want to order until I've tried them and I know they last, or, I lost them, and then the party's over and there's no sales. So I always, in my parties, let them know, make sure you get your orders in. As soon as I see it go through, I'm popping you some jams in the mail to play with until your order gets there, or until you get your designs. So, team no samples right here. And then be you. A lot of, that's something that Rachel talked about and everybody else has talked about. Just be you. I could be up here giving you a script of what to say, but it doesn't matter. The script itself doesn't always matter if you're not being genuine, and you have to know who your audience is. So you could be up in a party with somebody with a couple kids and all of their mom group, and if you're not talking about the juniors line or the celebration box when it comes out, you're not targeting your audience. Or you can be talking to an older crowd and they're not going to care necessarily about the juniors or crazy designs. You're going to post more classic stuff and the hand care products. So a script isn't going to do you any good if you're not paying attention to your audience. The important part is building relationships and making that you are talking to your hostess and knowing what to say. There's absolutely no magic trick to this. It is a lot of trial and error, but there's a lot of work that you can do. It doesn't matter if you fail at a certain post or don't do this, because by building those relationships and talking to your hostess ahead of time, you're going to know what to do within the party. And then, keep coming down right to the last minute. Okay, any questions you guys have, just ask me on the Summit page. We're trying to get to the fun stuff next. Who wants? I'm done so we can do some